before we actually get into the chat about today's chest day, the likes of which I know is going to be a pump beyond, probably beyond any previous, to the point that I actually kind of made it a point to wear an extra like stretchy shirt. I'm not big enough yet to where I'm worried about ripping my shirts, especially like the 3XL cotton ones. But I do not want that to seem like it's out of the realm of possibility. You know, merely a matter of time. Merely a matter of time. But, no, so even though contractually, you know, me and Hostile, we're kind of starting to go our separate ways, there is still some Sam Sulek product that we've kind of got to get off the shelves. So that's going to be the Hostility Foundation, some of the Blue Shark Gummy, and the oh crap, how am I forgetting the name of it now? Oh, and the cotton candy. So I still get my kickback from those, but this is probably the only time that someone will say, while supplies last, because there's not going to be any more reorders. So as long as that's in stock, there'll still be some Sam pre-workout for probably only a few more weeks, based on how quick it's going to actually get sort of sold off. But there's going to be a Sam pre-workout hiatus for a few months. But keep your ears open. There's going to be something or other eventually. A lot of things to be ironed out first. But no, plan for chest day, I'm talking incline. I don't know. I'm not totally sure. Probably incline Smith machine, but it's kind of whatever feels good, you know. Right now, I'm lucky enough, or maybe luck isn't even the right word, responsible enough to the point where my shoulders feel good, my chest feels good, my elbows feel good. So I kind of get the pick of the litter. You know, I can do whatever pressing movement I really feel like. Whereas sometimes, and I know some guys specifically, where they'll tell me like, yeah, I can't do any incline pressing right now because my rotator cuff is this, or my elbow is, you know. So if you're kind of fit and healthy and you can actually do any pressing movement that gets thrown in front of you heavy, then, you know, just try to change it up every so often. I did incline barbell to start my last chest day, so maybe I want to change it up and start with incline Smith today, or maybe machine chest press. You know, it's kind of whatever. But I know that the workout is going to start with a few heavy sets of pressing, and after probably 3 or 4 sets of heavy pressing, and that could be a few different movements, then my chest day gets very broad. You know, like before the chest day starts and I'm just warming up and I'm trying to decide which movements to start on, I've pretty much only got like 3 or maybe 4 choices. You know, incline dumbbell, barbell, Smith, machine press. And then once I've finished those kind of main sets, I can really kind of branch out the workout any way that I want. Because maybe I could do 4 sets of heavy pressing and then finish off with just all like cable fly squeezing work. Or I could just keep doing more pressing, or I could do a combination of the two and do like pressing supersetted into flies. You know, it's kind of whatever, you know, tickles my fancy. But as long as the sets that you do are intense and you're actually pushing yourself as hard as you fucking can, then I wouldn't even stress it too much, you know? In general, definitely a good rule to change up your training. You know, don't just do the same chest day over and over again. Oh my god. Haven't drank my pre yet. It's kind of this gym's a little bit further away, so I usually drink it halfway down the drive. But yeah, don't do the exact same chest day on repeat for months on end, because as much as I'm not one to say like, you know, you have to do different exercises every time or the workout won't work, it is going to kind of get a little bit stale. And there definitely is some validity to the idea that your body is going to get used to certain movements. So let's say your flat bench is really strong and your incline is really weak. Maybe try to do some more incline work, you know, because clearly your sort of upper chest chain of pressing fibers or whatever, if you get what I'm saying, it's just underdeveloped. So that's where it's a little bit tricky on your ego to work on your weak points, because in a lifting context, typically your weak points are just muscles which you're not lifting as heavy on, right? So depending on how much you love lifting heavy, that could give you a little bit of a hit to the family jewels, or that's not right now. Hit to your pride. That's what I mean to say. But change it up. And I really can't stress the fact that the intensity is what's going to really make up the quality of your workout. So that's where, apart from safety, if I'm doing incline barbell bench, I'm getting a spotter at least on the first few sets. Probably just all of them. No, probably just all of them, just because if I'm actually going to take a set to failure, and it's with an incline barbell or a regular barbell, whatever, then that means I'm not going to be able to re-rack it. So if you do a set and you don't need assistance on that last rep, I kind of feel like that means you had a little bit left in the tank and you're never really going to know. Like yesterday's leg day, where I did 2 sets of Smith machine squats. The first set, I re-racked the weight after rep number 10, and I think I totally could have done 12. Just looking at it, with hindsight, I totally could have done 12. And the next set, I did 10 reps again, except this time on the 10th rep, I failed halfway up. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I can't control myself. I gotta get the caffeine flowing in my system. But the set where I took it to complete failure, where I physically could not finish the rep, that's where I think the sweet spot is. So not every set that I do is to complete muscular failure. If you watch some of my leg days, I'm doing sets of leg extensions where I'm doing like 5 reps on the right leg, 5 on the left, back and forth like that. Like I don't hit complete muscular failure per se. So don't make it seem like every set has to be a life and death experience. But you have a pretty good gauge of just how intense and how much energy you're actually bringing to your working sets. And assuming you've got some fucking balls, you should be trying to go as hard as you can, And that's something that's also going to come with time and experience, Like for me to try to do a set of dumbbell curls as hard as I can as a beginner, let's say I'm capable of 20 reps. Like if you connected my brain to like a fucking computer to control me Frankenstein style, my biceps could do 20 reps of curls before they actually gave out and couldn't do any more. As a beginner, I might only be able to get 10 reps. And that's where my brain is signaling, like, dude, you can't handle this. You gotta stop. You can't, cut it off. Right? Now I still tried my hardest, but I've always got more reps left in the tank. So that's where getting some assisted reps is going to help you too. But now, if I have a weight where I think I can physically do 20 reps, I've lifted for so long and I'm so experienced actually trying to push myself to complete failure and beyond, that now I think I could get upwards of like maybe 16, 17 reps before I have to put it down and be like, I can't get any more. So even now, after all these years of experience and trying to really I'm really just training to fucking hit failure in most of my sets. Even now, I know I've always got more in the tank, And to have that mentality about it, which I think is the right mentality, it's going to let you keep going harder. Because you know that you've always got somewhere to go to. You've always got more intensity to bring, right? You've always got harder and better reps to try to force out. And it's, you kind of have a mentality of like, it's never enough, in a good way. Whereas, somebody who's kind of, I don't want to say delusional, but somebody who's a bit more, let's say maybe self-centered, and they're like, dude, I take every set to failure, bro. I go as hard as possible. And then I watch the guy do a set, and it's like RPE 4. RPE means rate of perceived exertion, and it's a grading scale from 0 to 10. 10 being as hard as you can go, 0 being zero effort, like sitting on the couch. There's guys out there, and I really hope it's not you. It's probably not you, but there's guys where they think, or at least they say, like, dude, I train hard. I really fucking train hard, bro. Like, for real. You wouldn't want to do my leg day. And then the leg day is like all sets of RPE 6, maybe. not let's just say that's not ideal, right? But as long as you're pushing hard and you know it, and you're trying to push yourself harder continuously over time, then that's kind of what I kind of want to see, you know. So if I could see anything change year to year in terms of the lifting community, I would love to see, well, I'd love to see everybody do their cardio. I'd love to see everybody track their macros, but I'd also love to see everybody really fucking push it, you know. Now, I'm not necessarily talking about like the 90-year-old woman who's at the YMCA that you go to. That's a different situation. But if you're a spry kind of youngin', or even anybody, you know that you've got the capability to really fucking push yourself hard in a safe manner, I think you've got to do it, you know. Because the benefits and the actual like fucking positives that you're getting from exertion in the gym are caused by the stress that you're giving yourself by pushing yourself that hard, you know. So if you don't induce a reasonable stress on your body from the training, there's no reason to expect that you're going to get any result, because you've got nothing to adapt to, you know. So that's sort of my logic there. The harder, the better. Boom. But let's get started. I'll probably just cut straight to the first working set because it's 5:30. I'm sure the gym's going to be pretty busy. You know, I sometimes I don't record all the warm-ups. I'll explain though. I'll explain once we're on there. Yeah. Let's drop it to a plate. Oh my god. Yes. I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet with that set. I want to make it a rest pause. So approach failure or hit failure. Take 10 seconds to breathe and then bust out a few more reps. Okay. Let's move on. Normally, I would just move on and start doing kind of that flat hammer strength chest press. But every time I do that machine, even just like 2 sets worth, I always feel like I've pretty much fully pumped up my chest to the point where I'm like ready to be done. So I think today I'm going to change it up and kind of do a bit of a back and forth style. So right, heavy Smith press, but now I'm going to do some more decline kind of fly, still kind of half fly, half pressing sort of movements, and then finish with that hammer strength press machine. Because the squeeze on it, oh, I mean, it's just fucking bananas. But a few sets here. Let's just see how they go. This way. Ugh. 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 Oh my God. Okay. One more. Ugh. 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 Okay. Let's make a drop set. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let's do some hammer strength presses. At this plate, at this plate, at this point, 3 plates is going to be a heavy set here. So for this first one, I think I'm just going to burn out regular style, many reps as possible, no drop set, no fancy anything. And then for the next set, I might do a little bit something fancy, maybe a drop set, superset, rest pause, to be determined. But for now, I just got to get fucking amped up to my brother, the Berserk track, the metal remix, of course. Come on, come on. All right. Ugh. 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 Oh my God. Okay. Oh, oh, that was a good one. Yeah. Something fancy for this next set. And I think this last one's going to be the finisher. Really doesn't fucking take much, especially with all those fucking carbs in my system. Oh my goodness. I've developed a plan. 2 plates, only a measly 2 plates, but it's going to be a little bit extra fancy. So instead of just one set failure then be done, I'm going to do a little bit of I think probably a double rest pause. So the plan is failure with 2 plates, or just about failure. Rack it, hunch over for a minute, get some blood flow, get some little bit of muscular recovery, reoxygenation. 10 seconds, 15 seconds, come back, burn out again. Same thing, sit for a few seconds, then try to burn out one more time. And then, well, I'm already pumped, but I can guarantee I'm going to be even more pumped than I am right now. Same logic as before. Just got to play something and get the done. Yeah. Okay. Come on. Yeah. 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 Okay. One more. Okay. Okay. Chest complete. Let's go pose down, goddammit. Oh, there we go. So that was only 2 sets of incline Smith, 2 sets of those cable presses, and then 2 sets of fucking machine press. That's about right to me, man. I mean, what else is necessary, you know? Like, I think it's kind of, I don't want to say foolish, but it's not based on any logic to say like a workout has to be composed of this many sets, of this many exercises, of this range of motion. I mean, look, at the end of the day, you have to remember the entire point of the working out, coming in and doing a lift, it's not to finish a certain number of sets. It's not to do 10 reps, 10 set chest days. The point of the lift is purely to stimulate, I think, pump up and do damage to whatever your targeted muscle is, induce some stimulus, some stress to it, so that when you go home and you eat and you rest and you recover, it grows back fucking bigger. So, however that's done, guess what? Fucking perfect. So if you want to go about it in more of a fucking Nick Walker approach, very controlled, perfect fucking reps. I mean, just fucking total precision. If you're growing, badass. Or if you want to be more of a fucking Hollingshead, this guy's a goddamn demon, probably triple my strength, doing 3 times the weights that I'm doing. And the guy's fucking massive. If you think I'm big, you got to look at some of these guys for real. Like if you inserted some of these actual Olympia Open guys next to me, I'm not going to say I look like a 5-year-old kid, but there's a pretty big fucking discrepancy. So what I mean there is a lot of shit works. So if you're growing, if you're making progress, strength, size, combination of the two, then the training you're doing is working. Right? Keep going hard. The only issue is if your training isn't working, you're not progressing, and then you got to figure out what to change. Because if you look the same, if you're the same size, if you're the same weight, if you're the same strength for months on end, then what that means is you've just been maintaining your build. Now, if that's your goal, if you're in your final state and you just want to maintain where you are, perfect, badass. You're you're more enlightened than me. I'm not fucking close to satisfied yet, but that's the real key. That's the real indicator of should I be changing what I'm doing? Am I growing? Yes. Keep doing it. Am I not growing? Well, am I growing? No. Change something up. But let's run through some stuff here. Oh my god. Oh, it's hard to hold a fucking vacuum after a badass chest day, but that's all she fucking wrote. I would be doing shoulders after this workout, but I need to fucking ease up. Compared to my arms, shoulders are all right. The shoulders themselves don't need too much work. I mean, they're still fucking, they're still striated to fucking hell. And they're a touch too bulbous in comparison to my arms. So you're not going to see a real serious, honestly, you're really not going to see any shoulder training for the foreseeable future. At least not until my arms have reached a size where I have to say, oh no, my shoulders need some work in comparison to my arms, you know? So if I can figure out how to get this fucking sweaty shirt on, then we can get in the car, go home, eat something, and get a good night's rest. My goal right now is to try to go to bed before midnight.
That should get me on a decent routine.
There we go. And we're off. Chest fully stimulated. And now my only main concern is to go home and chow down. I should have, if I was being a little bit smarter, I should have put some steaks into the sous vide before I even came to the gym so that they'd be ready to be seared when I got home. But no matter. No serious matter. I'll just end up doing some ground beef first. I've kind of been on the same fucking breakfast kick for the last few days. It's only been, I mean, this is only day 5 of, bulking, but I think that that's going to be good for me to get just a touch more consistent with it. So plan for the breakfast, at least as far as the next few months goes, is probably just going to be fucking eggs and hot cereal. Either what I've been doing, like 4 or 5 packs of the instant, like, Quaker Oats, or I got some cream of wheat. You are missing out if you haven't done cream of wheat, frozen blueberries, and then some, just a touch of brown sugar. I mean, that is fucking perfect. But around 50 grams of protein, that's kind of my staple for each meal. And then, if I'm aiming for 50 per meal, then that kind of puts me at about 5 meals per day-ish. So I don't need, 5,000 calorie meals per day yet. I'm not trying to max out the calorie intake. But for these first few weeks, 3.5 ended up being a little low. I'm going to stick to about 3.5, 4,000 or so. And then once I start to feel like, eating 3,500, 4,000 per day, and I'm fully carved up is no longer an issue, then, up it. So instead of 4,000, make it 4,500. Then after another few weeks or maybe a month or so, go from 4,500 to 5,000. 5,000 to maybe 5,300. 5,500 and above gets pretty tricky on a day-by-day basis in the long term. So in my mind, what that's telling me is I want to really maximize my gains and my poundage with 4,000, 3,500 calories that I'm working with now, because that's easy to get down. This morning was 245, so I think that initial 6-pound jump is getting close to about as much as I'm gonna gain in terms of just filling up, like that initial sort of refeed weight, which is not muscle or fat, it's just intramuscular, carbs and water. So I think from here on out it should be a steady, well, I'm probably not fully carved up yet. I'm sure I'll probably balance out at about maybe 247, 248 perhaps, and then it'll be a steady pound and a half-ish per week. So if I can gain a pound and a half a week on 3,500 calories, then that's what I want to do. And as soon as that weight gain starts to slow down, that's my indicator. Okay, I need to eat more food. Because that's everybody's indicator. If you're not gaining any weight, if you're no longer changing the scale and putting on muscle, then odds are, assuming you're training reasonably intensely, the issue is your calorie intake, man. And I can say that with a pretty high degree of certainty. Now, as you continue to bulk, it's going to become more prudent that you get every detail related to the training and the progress, let's just say on point, right? I could be eating, 5,500 calories per day in about 3 months, but if I'm not getting enough sleep, then I'm not really going to end up actually utilizing those calories for gains, because I won't be giving myself enough time and energy to actually recover. So if you're trying to bulk up and you've actually been bulking pretty well and you've been eating a lot of food, but suddenly your weight has plateaued, not getting enough sleep can be a pretty major factor. And I mean, anything that's going to limit your gains, anything that is legitimately going to limit your ability to recover and come back again stronger, I mean, that's the whole point of bulking or making any sort of actual lifting kind of progress, then if that's your shit, if that's what you want to prioritize, then anything that messes with that, you've kind of got to put it on the back burner, you know? So, that's not to say fucking don't go out with your friends or whatever else. But if you know that in a couple of years, you may not be so, you may not look back so fondly at all the time you spent goofing off, and you might kind of wish you locked in a little bit more, then that's on you, right? You have to live with the rest of your life, and vice versa. You have to live with how you lived before. So that's where being able to kind of understand the idea of delayed gratification, and doing things for yourself in the future, right? Setting yourself up to have a better time later, then I think it's worth it, So if I'm feeling a little, well, I don't know, I kind of feel like I'm an anomaly, because I feel like I'm such a gains nut that, not going out and getting all my meals in and staying home to train and everything else, like that's kind of the fun part, so I don't have so many, let's just say, internal distractions that I have to like fight against. I almost feel like being locked in is my baseline state of being, and anything else is just kind of like, I don't know, not second nature by any means. But yeah, so these first few weeks, calorie intake wise, absolutely no problem. Not trying to curb the amount of treats I'm consuming, really trying to make sure that most of my calories are just coming from fucking oats, wheats. I tell you what, there's a special place in my heart for cinnamon raisin bread. That's definitely going to be consumed on a pretty damn regular basis. I need to get some of that for sure. And then, maybe just try my best not to have too many Krispy Kremes. And my logic there is, it's just stressing out my fucking system, I'm going to be able to eat more food for longer, eating more plain, less internally taxing foods. So it's not necessarily health motivated, it's gains motivated. But usually the two kind of, coincide. Like, I would recommend for everybody, do some solid weight training, do your cardio, start tracking your macros, get a good amount of protein in, drink enough water and electrolytes per day that you're fully hydrated. I mean, these are all, you're going to live a better life if you've got all that shit down. But my logic isn't necessarily for general well-being of walking around during the day. I'm kind of gains motivated. But the fact that the two kind of go hand in hand, it just makes it pretty easy for me to really get into it. So, plan for tomorrow, solid back day. But beforehand, right in the morning, wake up, drink a fucking, energy drink, plus a couple packets of electrolyte mix. Guess what I've got 30 minutes of, right? You know what it is. You already freaking know what it is. But I don't know. I don't need to say it. You know. So let's just keep this fucking scale moving, and I'll see you tomorrow for back.